This panorama shows a view toward two areas on lower Mount Sharp, Mount Shields and Logan Pass. The view spans from southwest at left to west-northwest and was taken by Curiosity rover, which had driven about 328 meters from the location where it made this observation to an outcrop at the base of Mount Shields that the rover then examined in detail. This study location was chosen on the basis of Mount Shields displaying a feature that geologists recognized from images like this as likely to be a site where an ancient valley was incised into bedrock, then refilled with other sediment. After examining the outcrop at the base of Mount Shields, Curiosity resumed driving toward a study area at Logan Pass. That location was selected earlier on the basis of images from orbit indicating contact there between two different geological units. The rover's route from Mount Shields to Logan Pass runs behind Jacko Butte from the viewpoint where this panorama was taken. This is Phobos, the larger of Mars's two moons. The image was taken from a distance of about 4,200 miles by Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. The illuminated part of Phobos seen in this image is about 13 miles across. The most prominent feature in the image is the large crater called Stickney in the lower right. With a diameter of 5.6 miles, it is the largest feature on Phobos. The materials near the rim of Stickney appear bluer than the rest of Phobos, which based on analogy with materials on our own moon could mean that this surface is fresher and therefore younger than other parts of Phobos. A series of troughs and crater chains is obvious on other parts of the moon. Although many appear radial to Stickney in this image, recent studies indicate that they are not related to Stickney. Instead, they may have formed when material ejected from impacts on Mars later collided with Phobos. The lineated textures on the walls of Stickney and other large craters are landslides formed from materials falling into the crater interiors in the weak Phobos gravity, which is less than 1,000th of the gravity on Earth. This panorama shows the rim of Beagle crater, which has a diameter of 115 feet. At the time this image was taken, the Mars rover was about 82 feet from the crater looking east-southeast. The image reveals ejecta blocks near the rover, the largest of which is about 20 inches across. The image also shows a portion of the eastern interior rim of Beagle crater, which appears composed of jumbled angular blocks of brighter and darker outcrop rocks. This image shows an area of dark dunes sculpted by the wind into long lines that surrounds the northern polar cap on Mars, covering an area as big as Texas. Areas with cooler temperatures can be seen in blue colors, while warmer features are seen in yellows and oranges. The image covers an area 19 miles wide. In this panorama, to the right of the center and near the top of the frame, the rim of Endeavour crater rises in the distance. Just to the left of that, rover tracks can be seen which were left during the rover's descent from over the horizon towards Perseverance Valley where this panorama was taken. Located on the inner slope of the western rim of Endeavour crater, Perseverance Valley is a system of shallow troughs descending eastward about the length of 2 football fields from the crest of Endeavour's rim to its floor. At the bottom, just left of center, is a rocky outcrop which was investigated by Mars rover. To the right of center and halfway down the frame is another rocky outcrop about 23 feet away from the camera, which was also investigated by the rover. In the far right and left of the frame are the bottom of Perseverance Valley and the floor of Endeavour crater. These are sulfur-rich rocks located in the Columbia Hills region on Mars, which stand out in bright blue in this image. The Mars rover used its rock abrasion tool to grind a hole in the rock as seen in the image, and the rock's high sulfur content and softness are probably evidence of past alteration by water. NASA's Ingenuity Mars helicopter is seen here during one of its flight on Mars. The video shows the dust initially kicked up by the helicopter's spinning rotors, as well as Ingenuity taking off, hovering and beginning its 1440 feet journey to the southwest. The helicopter then landed off camera. The video was captured by the Mastcam Z imager aboard NASA's Perseverance rover, and at the time the video was taken, the rover was about 394 feet from the helicopter. This panorama shows a ridge which forms part of the southern wall of Marathon Valley on the western rim of Endeavour crater. The full extent of the ridge is visible with the floor of Endeavour crater beyond it and the far wall of the crater in the distant background. Near the right edge of the scene is Lewis and Clark Gap, through which Mars rover crossed from Marathon Valley to Bitterroot Valley. The view spans from east-northeast at left to southeast at right. These layered rocks show some complex layering patterns, and their layered nature presents new questions for the scientists. In addition to their chemical properties, which scientists can study using rover spectrometers, these rocks record a detailed history of the physical properties that formed them. In the center of this image, one group of layers slopes downward to the right. The layers above and below this group are more nearly horizontal. Where layers of different orientations intersect, other layers are truncated. This indicates that there were complex patterns of alternating erosion and deposition occurring when these layers were being deposited. Similar patterns can be found in some sedimentary rocks on Earth. Physical relationships among the various layers exposed at this location are crucial evidence in understanding how these Martian rocks formed. Scientists suspect that the rocks here formed in the aftermath of a volcanic explosion or impact event, and they are investigating the possibility that wind may also have played a role in redistributing materials after such an event. This stunning panorama was taken during the winter season on Mars's southern hemisphere. This is the time of year when Mars is farthest from the Sun, so there is much less dust storm and dust devil activity than at other times of the year. The panorama reveals a tremendous amount of detail in the location around a small hill. Many dark, porous textured volcanic rocks can be seen around the rover, including many on the hill. Two rocks to the right of center, brighter and smoother looking in this image, are thought to be meteorites. On the right are Husband Hill on the horizon, rippled sand dune filled near the base of that hill, and lighter toned home plate below the dunes. Left of center, tracks and a trench dug by the rover's right front wheel have exposed bright underlying material. This bright material is evidence of sulfur-rich, salty minerals in the subsurface, which may provide clues about the watery past of this part of Gusev crater. In addition to acquiring this spectacular panorama, the rover team also acquired significant new assessments of the elemental chemistry and mineralogy of rocks and soil targets within reach of the rover's arm. The team then drove to a nearby spot on the hill to access different rock and soil samples.